My name is Master Chief Instructor Tommy DeLallo, and I am the founder and creator of V4 Scientific Fighting Concepts. V4 Scientific Fighting Concepts is a reality urban self-defense system. What made me create a reality urban self-defense system over a traditional or reality-based self-defense system was that traditional martial arts tend to fight against themselves. There's no outside influences that contribute to growing or expanding. So what I did was I started bringing all those influences into my art. So I go to seminars, workshops, instructor certifications, training in the cage, and then bringing it in and then making sure it works in a real street environment. What does that mean? No mats, no pads. Bring it to the streets. That's what I think we miss, what self-defense and martial arts is all about. And that's what I make sure that I bring to the table for all my students. Bruce Lee was a major influence on the creation and development of V4 Scientific Fighting Concepts. He studied the same martial art that I have studied, traditional martial art, which is called Wing Chun Kung Fu. He then branched off from there and started using his coin phrase, which would be using no way as a way. So for Bruce Lee, it was basically saying no martial arts, no restrictions, no masters over me. I will create something that will benefit my life and benefit me in a real street or urban environment. So that's what Bruce Lee did, that's what I did. My martial art career started in Goju-Ryu. And then from there I went on to Taekwondo, high school wrestling. Then I joined the Marine Corps, learned a little bit about hand-to-hand tactics. After I got out of the Marine Corps, my martial art journey really expanded and exploded. I started then training in MMA since it's just started coming out in the 90s. And I started doing jiu-jitsu, I started doing Muay Thai, I started doing boxing, and finally I came up to Wing Chun Kung Fu. The first lineage that I studied in Wing Chun Kung Fu was Lung Ting. This really put everything in perspective to me. It was so aggressive and dynamic. I really never fought close like that, only when you're doing grappling or wrestling. And it took all the fighting out of the norm. You know, it broke all barriers. I then took Wing Chun. I started learning variation of Israeli, Russian, and American combative systems. That really shed a new light in my world. I then started testing these things, saying, you know, I started questioning. And I think most martial arts need to really do that out there. Question if the tactics will really work under a full-speed, uncooperative attacker. I do not believe in choreographed attacks or choreographed training. I think it has a place, but I think that the student should be learning uncooperative training, sparring, fighting all times. His reaction goes up, his instincts go up, and so on and so forth. So that's what I developed for V4 Scientific Fighting Concepts, to make it more effective, meaning that everything that we do is damaging or destructive, and we also incorporate a mindset, and that mindset is an aggressive one. Another aspect of training which I think needs to be developed regardless in any martial arts is multiple attackers. Again, uncooperative and unchoreographed, with and without weapons. These are things that are critical to the essential success for a student. What we do in my fighting method is that in their beginning phases, we are also incorporating multiple attackers. When we use focus mitts, we use boxing gloves, but they're getting hit, they have to know what it's like. When you're dealing with one attacker, you're tunnel visioned. So imagine when you're dealing with multiple attackers, you don't even know where everything is, and you're pinpointing to one specific attacker, then you're going to be getting rung from all different directions. So what we do is we stop the short-circuiting of the human body by letting them get hit a number of times in class. Let it become part of them, you know? And then learning how to use certain tactics and techniques that are going to benefit them and protect them in a real situation. The V in V-Force stands for the angles that we use. It also stands for vicious. Again, recirculating back to the aggressive mindset, the vicious mindset. You cannot have any mercy. Many of you have heard the term fight or flight. It's the same thing with us. But once encountered in full combat, it's fight, and we do it viciously and aggressively. So the scientific aspect to it is the timing, range, motion, speed, force, all these different elements of physics that we incorporate. One massive thing that separates us is a little thing we call extreme close quarter fighting. Most people call it scrap fighting, but we fully magnetize to our attackers. Magnetizing is the technique of pressing and controlling your attacker while being flush to the body as you possibly can. This is unique to the V4 scientific fighting concept. It is a natural defense to enable enough space for ample and maximizing your striking ability. Another reason is that magnetizing, we take a majority of the attacker's striking capabilities away from them and putting them into retreat mode, which then also gives us the ability for our striking concepts. While we magnetize, we also add various close-range rapid attacks to major areas. We deal with manipulations, we deal with shredding and tearing and biting. Everything goes. There's no rule. And to take away something from us is taking away our weapon. So V4 scientific fighting concepts never stops. It's always growing, always living, always breathing. There will never be where we stop and basically call ourselves a system. There is a beginning and end to V-Force, but there's still going to be an expansion of that, your training. So you're going to be developing on different martial arts. So even in my martial arts system, I'm not afraid for another student to go out and get certified in another system. I actually recommend it. I recommend that they keep learning and keep striving to be better at what they do, because V4 scientific fighting concept is not only a self-defense system or self-defense concept, it's a lifestyle. We want to be able to contribute this to life as well as our martial arts. So as martial art changes and grows, so shall we. We shall never be bound by tradition.